First contact and misunderstanding. The day Earth's skies changed forever began like any other. Blue expanses stretched over bustling cities and serene countryside alike, dotted with wispy clouds and the occasional contrail. It wasn't until mid-afternoon that the first reports started flooding in. Strange, metallic objects appearing in orbit, visible even to the naked eye. Within hours, every telescope on the planet was pointed skyward, and the truth became undeniable. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe. A fleet of massive, otherworldly ships had taken position around Earth, their designs defying human engineering principles. As panic began to spread across the globe, world leaders scrambled to convene an emergency United Nations session. The alien vessels maintained their positions, silent and inscrutable, as humanity grappled with the reality of first contact. It was during this chaos that the first transmission came through. Screens worldwide flickered to life, displaying a creature that seemed to be a bizarre amalgamation of insectoid and reptilian features. Its exoskeleton gleamed with an iridescent sheen, and multiple compound eyes surveyed the camera with alien intelligence. People of Earth, the creature began, its words translated into every major language simultaneously. I am General Zixtal of the Galactic Confederation. We have come seeking that which you call the Beast. Surrender it to us immediately, or face the consequences. The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the world in stunned silence. In the UN chamber, representatives turned to one another in confusion and fear. What was this beast the aliens sought? And why did they believe humanity possessed it? Dr. Elena Rodriguez, Earth's leading xenobiologist, was quickly summoned to advise the Emergency Council. As she entered the chamber, the tension was palpable. Dr. Rodriguez, the Secretary General, began. You've dedicated your life to theorizing about extraterrestrial life. What do you make of this demand? What could this beast be? Elena took a deep breath, her mind racing. Without more information, it's impossible to say for certain. The beast could refer to anything. A weapon, a person, an animal, or even a concept. We need to establish clearer communication with the aliens to understand their request. As if on cue, another transmission from the alien fleet lit up the chamber's main screen. General Zixtal's insectoid face filled the display once more. Your silence is concerning, the alien general chittered. Perhaps you do not understand the gravity of the situation. The beast is a menace that has plagued our civilization for eons. Our records indicate it fled to your world centuries ago. We have come to reclaim it and ensure the safety of the galaxy. The transmission ended, leaving the chamber in an uproar. Theories flew back and forth. Was the beast some ancient monster? A powerful alien criminal? A doomsday device? Amidst the chaos, a quiet voice spoke up. It belonged to Professor James Chen, a historian specializing in mythology and folklore. If I may, he began hesitantly, this reminds me of something. All eyes turned to the unassuming professor. There's an old legend, he continued, about a creature that came from the stars long ago. It was said to have incredible power and the ability to change its form. The stories vary, but in many versions, it took the shape of a common earth animal to hide among us. Elena's eyes widened. Are you suggesting that this legend might be based on a real extraterrestrial entity? One that these aliens are now seeking? James nodded. It's a possibility we can't ignore. If there's any truth to the legend, we need to find this creature before the aliens lose patience. The Secretary General stood, his decision made. Dr. Rodriguez, Professor Chen, I'm putting you in charge of a special task force. Your mission is to identify and locate this beast, whatever it may be. The fate of our world may depend on it. As Elena and James left the chamber to begin their search, military leaders worldwide were already mobilizing their forces. The alien fleet's presence had sparked a global arms race, with each nation scrambling to develop weapons capable of defending against potential extraterrestrial aggression. Meanwhile, In homes across the planet, families huddled around television sets and computer screens, watching in a mix of fear and awe as amateur astronomers streamed footage of the alien ships. Social media exploded with theories, memes, and desperate pleas for unity in the face of this unprecedented situation. In a small apartment in Tokyo, Hana Tanaka, a brilliant young computer scientist, stared at her laptop screen in disbelief. She had been working on an algorithm to detect patterns in seemingly random data, and now, as she ran it against the alien transmissions, something strange was emerging. "This can't be right," she muttered to herself, double-checking her results. According to her analysis, there was a hidden layer to the alien communication, a subliminal message that the translation software had missed entirely. Hand shaking, Hannah reached for her phone. She had to contact the authorities. Whatever she had discovered could be the key to understanding the aliens' true intentions, and perhaps the nature of the beast they sought. As night fell across the globe, humanity teetered on the brink of a new era. In orbit, the alien ships maintained their silent vigil, their very presence a constant reminder of how small and vulnerable Earth truly was in the cosmic scale. In the coming days, the search for the beast would uncover secrets long buried in human history. The line between myth and reality would blur, and humanity would be forced to confront truths about their own past that would shake the foundations of civilization. But for now, as the world held its collective breath, one question burned in every mind. What was the beast, and what would its discovery mean for the future of humanity? Little did they know, the answer was closer than anyone could have imagined, and it would challenge everything the aliens thought they knew about the nature of power, fear, and the indomitable spirit of humanity. The search for the beast. As dawn broke over a world forever changed, Dr. Elena Rodriguez and Professor James Chen found themselves at the heart of the most important search in human history. Their task force, hastily assembled from the brightest minds across the globe, had set up operations in a repurposed military bunker. The cavernous main room buzzed with activity. Screens displayed incoming data from every corner of the Earth, satellite imagery, historical records, and real-time reports from field teams scouring the planet for any sign of the beast. Elena rubbed her tired eyes, staring at a holographic display of ancient cave paintings. "James, look at this," she called out. "These petroglyphs from Australia. They show a creature descending from the sky, changing shape as it touches the ground." James hurried over, his eyes widening as he examined the images. "Remarkable. And look here," he pointed to a series of glyphs. "These symbols match others we found in South America and Africa. It's as if the same story was told across the ancient world." Their discussion was interrupted by a commotion near the communication hub. A young technician waved them over excitedly. "Dr. Rodriguez, Professor Chen, we've just received a transmission from Tokyo. A computer scientist named Hana Tanaka claims to have discovered a hidden layer in the alien messages." Elena and James exchanged glances. This could be the breakthrough they needed. "Patch her through," Elena ordered. Hana's face appeared on the main screen, her expression a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Dr. Rodriguez, Professor Chen, thank you for speaking with me. I've been analyzing the alien transmissions, and I've found something strange." As Hannah explained her findings, the room fell silent. According to her analysis, beneath the surface of the alien language was a complex emotional subtext, one that spoke not of aggression, but of fear. "They're terrified of this beast," Hannah concluded. "Whatever it is, it's not just a threat to them. It's something that challenges their entire understanding of the universe." This revelation sent shockwaves through the task force. If the aliens were acting out of fear rather than aggression, it could dramatically change their approach to the situation. As the team digested this new information, an alert blared from one of the monitoring stations. "We're receiving another transmission from the alien fleet," a technician announced. General Sixtel's face filled the screen once more, his compound eyes gleaming with an emotion that, thanks to Hana's work, they now recognized as barely contained panic. "People of Earth, The alien began. Your continued silence regarding the beast is unacceptable. We have detected energy signatures consistent with its presence on your world. If you do not surrender it within one of your solar rotations, we will be forced to take more drastic measures. As the transmission ended, the bunker erupted into frenzied activity. Energy signatures. Alina mused. That's new information. We need to cross-reference those readings with our global sensor network. While the technical team worked on identifying the energy signature, James had a realization. Wait a moment, he said, pulling up an old text on his tablet. There's a recurring theme in many of the legends about star beings. They often speak of a creature with the power to influence emotions, to instill courage or strike fear into the hearts of its enemies. Alina's eyes widened. Are you suggesting that the beast might be some kind of empathic entity, something capable of projecting emotions? Before James could respond, one of the sensor technicians called out, "We've got a hit. The energy signature the aliens detected. It's coming from multiple locations around the globe." A world map appeared on the main screen, dotted with glowing points of light. As the team watched in amazement, they realized the points were not static. They were moving, converging on major population centers. It's as if, Alina began, her voice filled with wonder, as if the beast isn't a single entity, but many, and they're drawn to human gatherings. James nodded slowly, a theory forming in his mind. What if the beast isn't a monster at all? What if it's something so common, so ubiquitous in human society that we've never even thought to question its presence? As the team grappled with this possibility, reports began flooding in from around the world. People were reporting strange behavior in their pets, dogs, cats, and other companion animals seeming more alert, more protective of their human families. In New York City, a woman reported her elderly golden retriever suddenly having the strength and agility of a puppy. In Mumbai, a street dog was seen leading a group of strays to help rescue survivors from a collapsed building. And in a small village in Africa, a domestic cat was witnessed growing to 3 times its size to fight off a leopard threatening local children. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to fall into place, but the picture they formed seemed almost too incredible to believe. Are we seriously considering the possibility that the beast the aliens fear is our pets? Alina asked, her voice a mix of disbelief and awe. James nodded slowly. Not just pets, perhaps, but the very concept of the human-animal bond. Think about it. Throughout human history, we've formed deep emotional connections with other species. We've invited them into our homes, our families. What if that connection awakened something latent within them? As if to confirm their theory, another alert sounded. This time, it was a video call from a marine biology station in the Pacific. The scientist on the screen looked shaken. "You're not going to believe this," she began, "but we've just witnessed something impossible. A pod of dolphins just saved a sinking ship by growing to the size of whales and pushing it to shore. And when they were done, they shrank back to normal size." Similar reports were pouring in from around the globe. Animals, particularly those with close bonds to humans, were exhibiting impossible abilities, shape-shifting, growing to enormous sizes, displaying intelligence far beyond their known capacities. Alina and James shared a look of mutual understanding. They had found the beast, or rather, the beasts. But how could they explain this to the aliens without sounding completely insane? As they grappled with this dilemma, Hannah's voice came through the comm system. "Dr. Rodriguez, Professor Chen, I've made another breakthrough in decoding the alien transmissions. I think I can establish two-way communication." This was the opportunity they needed. With Hannah's help, they could attempt to explain the situation to the aliens and hopefully avert a catastrophic misunderstanding. As the team prepared for this crucial communication, reports continued to flood in from around the world. In London, a group of pigeons had formed themselves into a living shield to protect civilians from falling debris during a building collapse. In the Amazon rainforest, jaguars were seen working alongside indigenous tribes, to replant deforested areas at an impossible speed. The more they observed, the clearer it became. The bond between humans and animals had awakened something profound, a symbiotic relationship that granted animals incredible abilities while amplifying humanity's capacity for compassion and connection with the natural world. With time running out before the aliens' deadline, Alina and James made a bold decision. They would not only tell the aliens about their discovery, but show them. Prepare a video feed. Alina instructed the team. We're going to broadcast examples of these transformed animals to the alien fleet. And she paused, a small smile playing on her lips. Let's start with dogs. Man's best friend might just become humanity's best ambassador. As the team scrambled to compile footage and prepare for the transmission, James couldn't help but chuckle at the irony of the situation. You know, he said to Alina, when I woke up yesterday, I never imagined I'd be trying to explain the concept of good boys to an alien civilization. Alina laughed, feeling the glimmer of hope for the first time since this crisis began. Well, if there's one thing I've learned in my career, it's that the universe is full of surprises. Let's just hope the aliens are dog people. With everything in place, Alina took a deep breath and nodded to Hannah. It was time to make contact and hopefully bridge the gap between two vastly different civilizations. As the transmission began, Alina couldn't help but think that perhaps this misunderstanding, born of fear and lack of communication, might lead to something beautiful, a new understanding between species, both terrestrial and extraterrestrial. The fate of Earth now rested on their ability to convey the unique and powerful bond between humans and their animal companions. As the first images of transformed dogs filled the screen, Alina silently hoped that the aliens would see not a fearsome beast, but the loyalty, love, and limitless potential that humanity had always seen in their four-legged friends. The next few moments would determine the course of human history, and perhaps the future of interstellar relations. With a mix of trepidation and hope, Alina began to speak, ready to introduce the aliens to humanity's greatest allies and the true nature of the beast they so feared. The unveiling. The tension in the command center was palpable as Alina's voice rang out, addressing the alien fleet orbiting Earth. General Zixtal of the Galactic Confederation, we have heard your demands and believe we have identified the beast you seek. However, we fear there has been a grave misunderstanding. On the massive view screen, General Zixtal's insectoid features twitched with what they now recognized as a mix of anticipation and fear. Explain yourselves, humans. Where is the beast? Alina took a deep breath. The entity you call the beast is not a single creature, nor is it a weapon. It is a symbiotic relationship that exists between humans and the animals of our world. We'd like to show you. With a nod to her team, Alina initiated the carefully prepared video feed. The screen split, showing the alien general on one side and a series of images on the other. The first clip showed a golden retriever, wagging its tail and panting happily. This, Alina explained, is what we call a dog. It's a domesticated animal that has lived alongside humans for thousands of years. General Zixtal's compound eyes widened. That is the beast. But it appears so, non-threatening. Exactly, Alina continued. Under normal circumstances, these animals are companions, helpers, and friends to humanity. However, we've discovered that our bond with them has awakened something extraordinary. The video feed changed, showing footage of the transformed animals from around the world. Dogs growing to enormous sizes to rescue people from burning buildings, cats phasing through walls to reach trapped disaster victims, birds forming protective shields against falling debris. As the aliens watched in stunned silence, James stepped forward to offer context. What you're seeing is the result of a deep, emotional bond between species. This connection has unlocked latent abilities in Earth's animals, abilities that seem to manifest most strongly when humans are in danger. General Zixtal's mandibles clacked rapidly, a sign of agitation. Impossible. Our records speak of a singular entity of immense destructive power. These are mere animals. Hana, monitoring the alien transmissions, detected a surge of confusion and disbelief rippling through the fleet. She quickly relayed this information to Elena and James. Elena seized the opportunity. "General, we understand your confusion. But consider this. What if the legends of the beast in your culture are a misinterpretation of this phenomenon? A single, all-powerful entity is indeed terrifying, but a force born of love, companionship, and mutual protection. That's something else entirely." As if on cue, a commotion erupted behind them. A small corgi had somehow found its way into the secure bunker, yapping excitedly as it ran circles around the startled staff. Before anyone could react, the dog's form shimmered and grew, transforming into a majestic, horse-sized canine with flowing golden fur. The transformed corgi bounded up to Elena, nuzzling her gently before turning to face the screen. Its eyes, now glowing with an otherworldly intelligence, seemed to stare directly at General Zixtal. The alien general recoiled, his exoskeleton rattling with fear. "By the cosmic void, it sees me." Elena placed a calming hand on the giant corgi's head. "Yes, General, and it means you no harm. This is the true nature of what you call the beast. It is a force born of companionship, loyalty, and love." For several tense moments, silence reigned. The fate of Earth hung in the balance as the alien general processed this paradigm-shifting information. Finally, General Zixtal spoke, his voice softer than before. "In all our travels across the galaxy, we have never encountered anything like this. The power to transform based on emotional bonds. It defies our understanding of biology and physics." James stepped forward. "General, if I may, perhaps that's precisely why this phenomenon has caused such fear among your people. It's something that can't be quantified or controlled through conventional means, but I assure you, it poses no threat to your civilization or any other." The general's compound eyes flickered, a sign they now recognized as deep thought. We may have been too hasty in our judgment. This revelation requires careful consideration." Elena saw an opportunity. "General Zixtal, we propose a cultural exchange. Allow a delegation from Earth to visit your ship. Bring some of our animal companions with us. Let us show you firsthand the true nature of our bond with Earth's creatures." The alien leader was quiet for a long moment, considering the offer. Finally, he nodded. "Agreed. We will make preparations for your arrival. But be warned, any sign of hostility will be met with immediate force." As the transmission ended, a collective sigh of relief echoed through the command center. The immediate threat of alien invasion had been averted, but they now faced a new challenge, proving to an advanced alien civilization that the power of love and companionship was not something to be feared. Over the next 48 hours, Elena, James, and a carefully selected team prepared for their unprecedented diplomatic mission. Alongside human experts in various fields, they chose a diverse group of animals to accompany them: dogs, cats, birds, and even a particularly intelligent octopus from the Marine Biology Center. As they boarded the shuttle that would take them to the alien mothership, Elena couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. They were about to become the first humans to set foot on an extraterrestrial vessel, all because of a cosmic misunderstanding about pets. The journey to the alien mothership was surreal. As they approached, the true scale of the vessel became apparent. It was a megastructure that dwarfed anything humanity had ever constructed. A city in space that housed an entire civilization. Their shuttle was guided into a vast docking bay, where they were greeted by a delegation of alien officials. The humans couldn't help but gasp at the diversity of life forms before them. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and compositions, some seemingly defying the very laws of biology as humanity understood them. General Zixtal stood at the forefront, his imposing figure somehow less threatening now that they understood the fear that had driven his actions. "Welcome aboard the Harmony of Stars," he chittered, his translator conveying a tone of cautious curiosity. As the human delegation disembarked, their animal companions followed. The aliens watched with a mix of fascination and apprehension as dogs wagged their tails, cats purred, and birds fluttered about, completely at ease in the alien environment. Elena stepped forward, extending a hand in what she hoped would be understood as a universal gesture of peace. General Zixtal, on behalf of humanity and Earth's animal kingdom, we thank you for this opportunity. The alien general hesitated for a moment before extending one of his upper limbs, mimicking the handshake. Your presence here is unprecedented. Never in our history have we allowed a potentially hostile force aboard our vessel. James chimed in, a wry smile on his face. With all due respect, General, I think you'll find that the most dangerous thing here might be dog breath. Isn't that right, Max? As if on cue, the golden retriever at James' side let out a booming bark that echoed through the docking bay. Several aliens jumped back in alarm, but their fear quickly turned to fascination as Max's form shimmered and grew. In moments, the friendly dog had transformed into a majestic, lion-sized canine, its fur shimmering with starlight. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the alien crowd. General Zixtal's compound eyes widened. Extraordinary, and you say this transformation is triggered by emotions. Elena nodded, running a hand through Max's starry fur. Love, loyalty, protectiveness. These are the forces that awaken these abilities in our animal companions. It's a symbiotic relationship that has evolved over thousands of years. As they moved deeper into the ship, the human delegation couldn't help but marvel at the advanced technology surrounding them. Holographic displays, gravity manipulation, and devices that seemed to bend the very fabric of space-time were commonplace here. Yet, for all their technological prowess, the aliens seemed utterly captivated by the simple interactions between humans and animals. They watched in awe as cats purred contentedly in their owner's arms, as birds performed aerial acrobatics responding to whistled commands, and as the octopus solved complex puzzles with almost human-like intelligence. In a vast chamber that seemed to serve as a combination of laboratory and conference room, the real cultural exchange began. Alien scientists peppered the human experts with questions about Earth's ecosystem, the process of domestication, and the biological mechanisms behind the animals' transformations. Elena and her team did their best to answer, but many questions remained mysteries even to them. The bond between humans and animals, it seemed, was still full of surprises. As the discussions progressed, something unexpected began to happen. The aliens, initially wary and scientific in their approach, started to show signs of emotional responses to the animals. A particularly brave alien child, encouraged by its parent, tentatively reached out to pet a cat. The moment its hand touched the soft fur, the cat began to purr, and the alien child's eyes widened with an emotion that seemed very close to joy. General Zixtal observed all of this with growing wonder. In all our travels, in all our scientific advancements, he mused, we have never encountered anything quite like this. The ability to form such deep bonds with other species, it's beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. Elena smiled. That's the essence of humanity, General. We're not perfect, far from it. We've made countless mistakes in our history. But our capacity for love, for forming connections not just with each other but with other species, has always been our greatest strength. As if to punctuate her words, Max the golden retriever padded over to General Zixtal. The alien leader tensed for a moment, but then, slowly, extended a hand. Max sniffed it curiously before giving it a gentle lick. The general's exoskeleton shimmered with what they now recognized as the alien equivalent of a laugh. Perhaps, General Zixtal said softly, we have much to learn from Earth after all. As the first day of the cultural exchange drew to a close, both humans and aliens felt a sense of hope and excitement for the future. What had begun as a potentially catastrophic first contact was blossoming into something beautiful, the beginning of a friendship between two vastly different civilizations, bridged by the unconditional love of a dog and the purr of a contented cat. But as Elena and her team prepared to rest in their alien-provided quarters, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. The universe, it seemed, was far more complex and wondrous than humanity had ever imagined. And their faithful animal companions, once seen as simple pets, were proving to be the key to unlocking its mysteries. With Max curled up at her feet, now back to his normal size, but still radiating a faint starlight glow, Elena drifted off to sleep, dreaming of the incredible journey that lay ahead, for humanity, for Earth's animals, and for the countless alien civilizations waiting to be discovered among the stars. Cultural exchange and challenges. As the artificial day cycle aboard the Harmony of Stars began, Elena awoke to a sight that would have been unimaginable just days ago. Through the transparent wall of her quarters, she could see the curved edge of Earth, a blue marble suspended in the vastness of space. Max, the golden retriever, was already up, his tail wagging as he gazed at the view, occasionally emitting a soft glow. "Quite a sight, isn't it, boy?" Elena murmured, scratching behind Max's ears. The dog turned to her, his eyes sparkling with an intelligence that still amazed her, despite everything they'd learned. A chime at the door announced the arrival of James and Hannah, ready for day 2 of the craziest diplomatic mission in human history. James asked with a grin. Elena nodded, her expression a mix of excitement and determination. "Let's show these aliens what humanity and our animal friends are really capable of." As they made their way to the central hub of the alien ship, they couldn't help but notice the changed atmosphere. Alien crew members, who had initially regarded them with fear and suspicion, now watched them pass with undisguised curiosity. Some even attempted awkward greetings, their translators struggling with the concept of "good morning." In the main conference chamber, they found General Zixtal engaged in what appeared to be a staring contest with Whiskers, the telepathic cat from their delegation. The alien leader's compound eyes were fixed on the feline, who sat regally on the table, tail swishing slowly. "Ah, humans," Zixtal chittered as they entered, not breaking eye contact with Whiskers. "Your feline companion has been communicating with me. It's quite an extraordinary experience." Hannah stepped forward, her eyes wide with excitement. "General, are you saying you can understand Whiskers telepathically?" Zixtal's exoskeleton rippled in what they now recognize as the alien equivalent of a shrug. "Not precisely. It's more impressions, emotions, but far more complex than I would have expected from a non-sentient species." "That's just it, General," James interjected. "We're beginning to realize that our definition of sentience might be too narrow. Our animal companions have always been more than just pets. They're partners, friends, and in many ways, equals." As if to demonstrate this point, Whiskers chose that moment to stand, stretch languidly, and then transform. In a shimmer of starlight, the ordinary housecat grew and shifted until a magnificent, saber-toothed feline stood before them, its coat shimmering with galaxies. General Zixtal stumbled back, his mandibles clicking rapidly in astonishment. "By the cosmic void. I felt it. The transformation, it wasn't just physical. Its mind expanded." Elena nodded, reaching out to stroke Whiskers' now massive flank. "This is what we've been trying to explain, General. The bond between humans and animals isn't just emotional. It's a symbiotic relationship that enhances both species. We're only beginning to understand its potential." The day progressed with a series of demonstrations and experiments. The human scientists worked alongside their alien counterparts, documenting the various transformations and abilities of their animal companions. Dogs showcased their ability to grow to enormous sizes and manipulate their physical properties. Cats demonstrated telepathic prowess and phase-shifting abilities, and birds exhibited control over wind currents and even short-range teleportation. But it wasn't just the extraordinary abilities that captivated the aliens. They seemed equally fascinated by the ordinary, everyday interactions between humans and animals. The simple act of a dog fetching a ball or a cat curling up in a lap for a nap drew crowds of curious onlookers. As Elena explained the concept of pet ownership to a group of alien scientists, she noticed their confusion. "But these are clearly highly evolved beings," one alien remarked. "How can you claim to own them?" "It's a complex relationship," Elena admitted. "Legally, yes, we consider them property. But emotionally, they're family. We care for them. And in return, they offer companionship, love, and as we're discovering, protection on a scale we never imagined." This explanation led to a deep philosophical discussion about the nature of consciousness, free will, and the ethical implications of human-animal relationships. The aliens, it turned out, had a very different concept of individual autonomy, living in a highly structured, hive-like society. As the exchange of ideas continued, both humans and aliens found their preconceptions challenged. The aliens struggled to understand the chaotic, emotional nature of human society, while the humans grappled with the aliens' coldly logical approach to existence. Midway through the day, an alert sounded throughout the ship. General Zixtal was quickly called away, leaving the human delegation in a state of nervous anticipation. When he returned, his exoskeleton was rippling with agitation. "We've received a transmission from the Galactic Confederation," he announced. "News of your unique abilities has spread. The Confederation Council is convening an emergency session to discuss the implications of our discovery." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. "What does this mean, General? Are we in danger?" Zixtal's compound eyes flickered. "Not immediately. But there are factions within the Confederation who fear any power they don't understand. They may push for extreme measures." The implications hung heavy in the air. Earth's animals, once seen as simple companions, were now being viewed as potential weapons on a galactic scale. The very bond that made them special could be the thing that put them in grave danger. As the human team huddled to discuss this new development, they were interrupted by a commotion near the lab area. They rushed over to find a group of alien scientists crowded around a holographic display, chattering excitedly. "What's going on?" James asked, pushing through to see. One of the alien scientists turned, her eye stalks quivering with excitement. "We've been analyzing the energy patterns during the animals' transformations. Look at this." The hologram showed a complex web of energy, pulsing and flowing between a human figure and an animal. As they watched, the web expanded, reaching out beyond the two figures. "It's not just a localized phenomenon," the alien explained. "The energy field extends far beyond the immediate vicinity. In fact, our readings suggest it permeates your entire planet." The implications were staggering. It wasn't just individual bonds between humans and their pets. The entire Earth was encompassed in a complex network of these connections. Every human, every animal, all interconnected in ways they were only beginning to understand. As the team grappled with this new information, Max, who had been quietly observing, suddenly perked up. His form shimmered, growing once again to his larger, starlight-infused shape. Before anyone could react, he bounded out of the lab and down the corridor. "Max, wait," Elena called, running after him. The others followed, alien scientists and security personnel alike, struggling to keep up with the transformed dog's long strides. They found Max in a previously restricted area of the ship, pawing at a sealed door. As Elena approached, the door slid open, revealing a sight that took her breath away. Inside was what appeared to be a massive arboretum, filled with plant life from countless alien worlds. But it was unlike any garden Elena had ever seen. The plants were wilting, their colors faded, the very air seeming to shimmer with an unseen sickness. Max whined softly, nudging Elena's hand. She understood instantly. "He wants to help," she explained to the bewildered aliens. "This garden, it's dying, isn't it?" General Zixtal, who had caught up with the group, nodded solemnly. "This is, or was, our bioharmonic chamber. It contains samples of flora from across the galaxy, all interconnected in a delicate balance. But recently, the system has begun to fail. We've been unable to determine why. Elena looked at Max, then back at the general. May we try something? After a moment's hesitation, Zixtal nodded. Elena knelt beside Max, placing her hand on his shimmering fur. Okay, boy, she whispered. Do your thing. Max stepped forward, his form growing even larger until he towered over them all, his fur a swirling cosmos of stars and nebula. He threw back his head and let out a howl that seemed to shake the very fabric of reality. A wave of energy pulsed from Max, washing over the alien plants. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly at first, but with gathering speed, color began to return to the wilting leaves. Stems straightened, flowers unfurled, and the air itself seemed to come alive with vibrant energy. The aliens watched in awe as their dying arboretum transformed into a lush, thriving ecosystem unlike anything they had ever seen. Plants that had been on the brink of extinction now burst with life, their colors more vivid, their forms more vigorous than ever before. As the transformation completed, Max shrank back to his normal size, trotting back to Elena with a satisfied wag of his tail. She hugged him tightly, overwhelmed by the display of power and the depth of the bond they shared. General Zixtal approached slowly, his entire demeanor changed. Gone was the stern military leader. In his place stood a being humbled by what he had witnessed. In all our travels, in all our scientific advancements, he said softly, we have never encountered anything like this. The power to heal, to restore life on such a scale, it's beyond our comprehension. Elena stood, her hand resting on Max's head. This is what we've been trying to explain, General. The bond we share with our animal companions, it's not about dominance or control. It's about harmony, about working together to create something greater than the sum of its parts. As the news of what had happened spread through the ship, Elena could sense a shift in the atmosphere. The fear and suspicion that had initially greeted them were being replaced by something new, a sense of wonder, and perhaps even hope. But even as they celebrated this breakthrough, Elena couldn't shake the sense of foreboding that had come with the news of the Galactic Confederation's interest. They had shown the aliens the true nature of Earth's beast, but in doing so, they may have placed their entire world in danger. As the day drew to a close, Elena gathered her team. We've made incredible progress, she said, but our work is far from over. Tomorrow, we need to start preparing for the Confederation Council. The future of Earth may depend on what happens next. With nods of agreement, the team dispersed to rest and prepare. As Elena settled into her quarters, Max curled up at her feet. She gazed out at the Earth, so beautiful and fragile in the vastness of space. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew that the bond between humanity and their animal companions would be the key to facing them. As she drifted off to sleep, Elena's dreams were filled with visions of a universe teeming with life, all interconnected in ways she was only beginning to understand. And at the heart of it all was the simple, profound love between a human and her dog, a love that, she now realized, had the power to change the very fabric of reality itself. Resolution and new beginnings. The next morning aboard the Harmony of Stars dawned with a palpable sense of anticipation. Elena and her team gathered in their makeshift command center, joined by General Zixtal and a contingent of alien scientists. The air was thick with tension as they prepared for their presentation to the Galactic Confederation Council. Remember, Elena addressed her team, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. We're not just representing humanity here. We're speaking for Earth, for every living creature that calls our planet home. James nodded, absently scratching behind Max's ears. No pressure, right? Just the fate of our entire world hanging in the balance. Hannah, who had been fine-tuning their presentation, looked up from her holographic display. I've incorporated the data from yesterday's bioharmonic chamber incident. If anything can convince them of the positive potential of our human-animal bond, it's that. General Zixtal chittered, his compound eyes flickering with what they now recognized as nervousness. The council can be challenging, Many of its members are set in their ways, fearful of anything that disrupts the established order of the galaxy. Alina straightened her shoulders, a determined glint in her eye. Then it's our job to show them that change isn't always something to be feared. Sometimes it's the key to growth and understanding. As they made their final preparations, a soft chime announced an incoming transmission. The main screen flickered to life, revealing a vast chamber filled with alien beings of all shapes and sizes. At the center sat a panel of imposing figures, the Galactic Confederation Council. A being that seemed to be composed entirely of shimmering energy spoke, its words translated for the human team. Greetings, representatives of Earth. We have convened this emergency session to address the matter of the entity known as the Beast. General Zixtal, please present your findings. As Zixtal began his report, Alina couldn't help but marvel at the diversity of life represented in the council chamber. There were beings that defied her understanding of biology, creatures of living crystal, swirling vortexes of gas, and things that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once. When it came time for the Earth delegation to speak, Alina stepped forward. Taking a deep breath, she began. Honorable members of the Council, what you have come to know as the Beast is not a single entity, nor is it a weapon. It is the manifestation of a unique bond that exists between the sentient species of our world, humans, and the myriad animal life that shares our planet. As she spoke, holographic displays showed footage of the transformed animals in action. Dogs growing to massive sizes to rescue people from disasters, cats phasing through walls to guide lost children home, birds forming protective shields against environmental hazards. This bond, Alina continued, is not about dominance or control. It's a symbiotic relationship that enhances both parties, allowing us to achieve things together that neither could accomplish alone. The council members murmured among themselves, their reactions a mix of fascination and skepticism. One council member, a being that appeared to be a sentient fungal network, spoke up. This power you describe, it could easily be weaponized. How can we trust that your species won't use it to dominate others as you expand into the galaxy? It was James who answered, his voice calm and reassuring. The very nature of this bond prevents its misuse. It's rooted in empathy, in mutual care and respect. The moment it's used with the intent to harm or dominate, the connection is severed. To demonstrate, he turned to Max. Max, grow big, boy. The golden retriever wagged his tail and began to shimmer, growing to the size of a small elephant. Now, Max, try to look scary. Pretend you want to hurt someone. Max tilted his head in confusion, then let out a friendly woof that echoed through the chamber. Despite his size, he looked about as threatening as an oversized puppy. Several council members chuckled, the tension in the room easing slightly. Hannah stepped forward next, bringing up the data from the bioharmonic chamber. Esteemed council members, yesterday we witnessed something extraordinary. One of our transformed animals was able to restore an entire ecosystem that your most advanced technology couldn't save. This power doesn't just protect, it heals, it restores, it brings life. The council chamber erupted in discussion, aliens debating amongst themselves in a cacophony of languages. Finally, the energy being at the center raised an appendage for silence. What you have shown us is indeed remarkable, it said, but it also represents a significant shift in the balance of power in our galaxy. We must consider the implications carefully. It was at this moment that something unexpected happened. Whiskers, the telepathic cat, sauntered into view of the transmission. Before anyone could stop him, he sat down, looked directly at the council, and began to purr. The sound, amplified by the ship's systems, filled the council chamber. And then, to everyone's amazement, Whiskers began to grow. But this transformation was different from anything they'd seen before. The cat's form became translucent, expanding until it seemed to encompass the entire chamber. For a brief moment, every being in the room, human, animal, and alien alike, was connected in a web of shimmering energy. Gasps of awe echoed through the chamber as council members experienced firsthand the bond that Alina and her team had been trying to describe. They felt the love, the trust, the deep connection that formed the foundation of this extraordinary power. As Whiskers returned to his normal form, curling up contentedly as if nothing had happened, silence reigned in the council chamber. The energy being at the center seemed to pulse with a new intensity. We felt it, it said, its voice filled with wonder. The connection, the potential. It's unlike anything we've encountered in our exploration of the galaxy. General Zixtal stepped forward, his mandibles clicking softly. Honored Council, I came to Earth seeking a threat, a beast to be contained or destroyed. What I found instead was a reminder of something many of us have forgotten in our pursuit of technological advancement, the power of connection, of symbiosis with the worlds we inhabit. The Council deliberated for what felt like an eternity. Finally, the energy being spoke again. Representatives of Earth, we have reached a decision. While the power you possess is indeed formidable, we recognize that its very nature makes it an unlikely threat to galactic peace. Instead, we see an opportunity for mutual growth and understanding. Elena felt a wave of relief wash over her, but she knew better than to relax completely. What does this mean for Earth, Honored Council? Earth will be granted provisional membership in the Galactic Confederation, the Council announced. We propose a long-term cultural and scientific exchange program. There is much we can learn from each other. The human team exchanged glances of disbelief and joy. They had done it. Not only had they averted a potential conflict, but they had opened the door to a new era of interstellar cooperation. As the details of the exchange program were hashed out, Alina found herself reflecting on the incredible journey that had led them to this point. What had begun as a terrifying first contact scenario had blossomed into an opportunity for humanity to take its place among the stars. In the days that followed, preparations began for Earth's integration into the galactic community. The news of alien life and Earth's new status in the galaxy was broken to the public, causing a mix of excitement, fear, and wonder across the globe. Elena, James, and Hannah found themselves at the center of a whirlwind of activity. They were tasked with establishing the first joint human-alien research facility, dedicated to studying the human-animal bond and its potential applications across the galaxy. As construction began on the facility, a massive complex that would house scientists and diplomats from dozens of alien races alongside their human counterparts, Alina stood with Max at her side, watching the sun set over the new interspecies city taking shape. "You know, boy," she said softly, scratching behind Max's ears, "when I was a little girl dreaming of the stars, I never imagined it would be you. Man's best friend, who would help us reach them." Max wagged his tail, his eyes twinkling with an intelligence that still amazed her. As if in response to her words, he began to glow softly, his form shimmering with starlight. Elena laughed, feeling a sense of wonder and possibility that she hadn't experienced since childhood. All right. One last adventure for the day. Where shall we go, Max?" "The moon. Mars." As Max grew to his larger form, now a majestic, cosmic canine of enormous proportions, Elena climbed onto his back. With a joyful bark that seemed to shake the very stars, Max leaped into the sky, carrying them both towards the endless frontier of space. From the ground, James and Hannah watched their ascent, joined by a group of awestruck alien scientists. "You know," James mused, a smile playing on his lips, "I have a feeling this is just the beginning of a very long, very strange, and very wonderful story." Hannah nodded, her eyes fixed on the shimmering trail Max and Elena left in their wake. The story of humanity and their faithful companions, taking on the universe together. As Max and Elena soared among the stars, their figures silhouetted against the rising moon, a new chapter in Earth's history was beginning. It was a future filled with challenges, discoveries, and wonders beyond imagination. But whatever the cosmos might throw at them, humanity would face it as they always had, with determination, adaptability, and the unwavering support of their animal companions. For in the vast, star-studded tapestry of the universe, the bond between humans and animals had proven to be not a fearsome beast, but a force of life, love, and limitless potential. And that bond, born on a small blue planet in an unremarkable corner of the galaxy, was about to change the fate of civilizations across the stars. The adventure, it seemed, was only just beginning.